Welcome to the Selling from the Heart podcast on the From the Heart Business Network. You've joined a global movement of sales professionals who are dedicated to being authentic and building trust. We call it Selling from the Heart. Together, we're on a mission to bring sincerity and substance to the sales profession we all love. Get ready to be inspired and equipped as we join our hosts, Larry Levine and Darrell Amy.
If you love the Selling from the Heart podcast, then you know how much we value authentic leadership and building relationships with heart. But here's the thing. Great leadership doesn't stop with sales. It starts at the top with CEOs who inspire trust, create meaningful cultures, and lead with purpose.
That's why we're excited to invite you to get involved with the Culture from the Heart podcast. On Culture from the Heart, we celebrate CEOs who are transforming their companies by putting people first. And we're asking you to help us find them.
Do you work for an incredible leader? Know a CEO who builds culture from the heart? Nominate them to be interviewed on the show. Together, let's spotlight the leaders who make businesses thrive by leading authentically.
So head over to cultureFromTheHeart.com to submit your nomination today. Because when leadership starts with the heart, culture and success follow. Hello and welcome back to the Selling from the Heart podcast. Your co-host, Darrell Amy, here today with Larry Levine. What's going on, Larry?
Hey, it's good seeing you. Another phenomenal day here at Selling from the Heart. We're in for a treat today. We're going to have a great conversation.
Get ready to elevate others. We got David Trent in the house. Hey, thank you to everybody for joining us today. And by the way, if you're new to the Selling from the Heart podcast, welcome. You've joined a growing community, an international community of sales professionals that are dedicated to being genuine, being authentic, building trust. We call it Selling from the Heart. And all over the world is this incredible community of heart-centered sales professionals, leaders, entrepreneurs. We love giving a shout out at the beginning of every episode to one of our friends.
You know, absolutely. I want to give a shout out to Danny Mathis. And there's just a quick story behind this. Is just a couple of days ago on LinkedIn, I just shared some about how you show up and the power of presence. Well, he repurposed it and he added his story to it about how he used that to help him in a meeting. So Danny, I appreciate you. You're a great guy. Thank you for following Selling from the Heart.
Absolutely. And we love to hear from you. If we're not connected with you on LinkedIn, please reach out. We'd love to get to know you. Well, today we're thrilled to welcome my friend David Trent. He's a seasoned entrepreneur, a trusted mentor, and a bold advocate for heart-centered leadership in business. With over 3 decades of experience, David founded and scaled Trent Capital Management to over $1 billion in assets before exiting at age 60. Now, as the founder of Trent Premier Growth, David dedicates his life to empowering purpose-driven entrepreneurs. If you get to know David, you'll quickly realize he doesn't just build businesses, he builds leaders. And through his CEO peer groups and mentorship, David guides growth-minded entrepreneurs to embrace authentic leadership and sustainable growth strategies. His amazing book, Elevate Others, Lessons for Purpose-Driven Entrepreneurs, captures his philosophy that true success is measured by the positive impact that we have on those around us. And speaking of David, he is here with us, of course, in the studios today. Welcome to Selling from the Heart, David. It's great to have you here.
Hey, I'm honored to be here. I'm excited.
So am I. Looking forward to this one.
Yeah, we've been waiting for this, and I know everyone's going to want to elevate others. And as we get started, though, you know the question that every guest on the Selling from the Heart podcast answers, and that is, David, what does it mean to you to sell from the heart?
You know, I'll go with a Zig Ziglar quote. If you help enough others get what they want, you'll get what you want. And really, my selling from the heart, I would say, is just doing it through educating others. And yes, there is a goal to get business, but I'd like to say it's a mix of altruism and capitalism. So you can kind of blend those together. And knowing that, you know, if I have 12 people in a room looking at a CEO roundtable group, considering it that probably 80% of those, let's say 10, are not going to be a candidate for whatever reason, their choice. They may not be a fit from our standpoint, but what I try to do in that 90 minutes is make sure everybody comes away with value. So that's one example of what I think of when I think of selling from the heart. and then knowing that the other stuff will all work out, and plenty of business to go around, if you will.
Oh, this is really good. Hey, by the way, thanks for sharing, David. I just got to go back to this. Where'd you learn all this from? I'm just curious. That was a great answer to selling from the heart, but you use altruism and capitalism and you blend it all together. Walk us through all of this and how you came to this philosophy. I'm just curious.
Well, there's a book called Halftime that I'm guessing both of you have read. Darrell?
Thumbs up on that one. I don't know if Larry's been introduced to that one yet.
No, I haven't. Oh,
no, it's time.
You need to read Halftime. It's awesome. So I read it, author's Bob Buford. I read it, I don't know, it's been probably definitely over 10 years ago. And so I'm going to be a little cold on the story, but he had 50 radio stations, I believe. Darrell, stop me if you need to, but he basically sold those, and what we used to call in the wealth management space, he was now at work optional lifestyle, meaning if he was going to work, he was going to do it because he wanted to, not because he had to. So financially very independent set. And so here he is, I think he was 50 or 50-ish, and had to figure out, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? And so he just talked about that, and to really think that through. And I took it to for me, I didn't think of it as, man, I need to, when I sell my company, I'm really going to be altruistic. And altruism can have a lot of forms, right? We think naturally of philanthropy. But one of the things he struck that what I didn't use is, he used the phrase altruistic egoism, and meaning you feed your ego by helping others. Is probably that's a positive way to feed your ego, right? And just the joy that you get out of that. And I just think a lot of people don't even conceive of it that way, but it's almost selfish in a good way, right? If you're altruistic, you're going to get this great feeling, and you have the joy of having helped somebody on their journey.
I love it. Altruism and capitalism blended together. And that's so much of the DNA of this book.
I actually just came up with that yesterday.
Okay,
there you go.
I really did. I was thinking, because Darrell sat in on one of my 90-minute roundtable experience lunches last week, and I was thinking, how do I make what I'm doing better? And that came to me, is what I'm trying to do is mix. I want everybody in the room to benefit from this 90 minutes, but I'm also, for lack of a better word, I'm pitching my roundtables for the right fit. So
yeah, that's beautiful. Well, that's obviously in your DNA, because that is part of the DNA of the story that you tell in this amazing book, Elevate Others. By the way, not only congratulations on the release of this book, but thank you for putting this book together. I got a behind the scenes look at the work you put into this. And this is a beautiful combination of storytelling and incredibly encouraging and inspirational advice for everybody. So I would love it. And I've had the privilege of hearing your story. I'd love to hear kind of some of the backstory behind what got you to later in life put together this amazing book, Elevate Others.
And you can reroute me if I need to, but I'll talk about the writing of the book, because I think it will answer that question. First of all, I've got a degree in math, and so typically, when you have the math mind, you're not a good writer, and I fell into that category. And I knew I wasn't a gifted writer, but I once I sold my company at the or exited my company near the end of 23, I had wanted to write a book. And so among many other things that I did, I just got started. And I think the lessons I had learned from sales of just, you got to start, figure things out. So I didn't have any idea how this thing was going to play out. Well, ultimately, I figured out a format that I liked, and I was able to, there's 25 chapters. Each chapter is like a mini book. And so I figured out a format where there's a 3-part kind of 2,000-word chapter. Every chapter talked about my entrepreneurial journey was the first section. The second of 3 sections was family values. And then the third section was master teachers. And so those are all tied together with a 1-word title. and I just talked about my journey from when I started at New York Life. I've been what I call, I'm sure you guys have used this phrase, eat what you kill, from age 23, 24, 24. And that's where I got my start. And so because sales is so hard and so challenging, I was blessed to have mentors that not only just impacted me, but mentors that would tell me about, here's some stuff you need to be reading. And so I fell in love with personal development in the books. And I say I fell in love with it, I really did, but it kind of had to, just to keep a mindset, in sales when it's hard, man. So,
yeah, no doubt.
When you start, and I like this, and I want to hone in on two words you used, and it's personal development. Who are some of your mentors, and who are some of your guiding lights when it comes to personal development? And there's a reason why I'm asking is I think personal development is the key to anyone's sales growth, is the more you double down on personal development. So I'm just curious where you learned this all from.
So my number one guy is Jim Rohn, and ROHN, for those that maybe haven't heard of him.
Yes.
But he's far and away is a master communicator, and I've consumed almost all of his stuff. His audio is the best because he's just captivating. And when I say he's a master communicator, he has a way of phrasing things and stuff that sticks with you. And work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Who am I around? Just on and on. Now, I also love Zig Ziglar, Earl Nightingale. So it's kind of the classics, if you will. And I'm not immune to newer people, but what I realized, Larry, when you asked that, and I may have even shared this with Darrell, all of that personal development stuff is rooted in Proverbs. And so I think of it as proverb has been repurposed by how many people, which is fine. But Tony Robbins, Tony Robbins was a Jim Rohn student, and that's in his, I think when he was 19 or 20, he actually worked under Jim Rohn. But I'm rambling a little bit, but those are a few. I love The Greatest Salesman in the World. Have you guys both read that?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and so talk about Og Mandino, just how awesome he is. I mean, you could listen to his voice on and on. Anytime I recommend that to somebody, I say, you need to read the book, but you're missing out if you don't listen to his audio version, because it's that thick New York accent, and it's so good. So.
Oh, we love the classics. Well, one of the cool things about this book, there's just so much great stuff in this book, David, Elevate Others. You've got a chapter right at the beginning of the book on selling early on in your journey. I love the quote you picked, by the way, to start this chapter. I've never seen this quote anywhere else. Let me find it. It's so good. It is about failure, and failure is the condiment that gives success its flavor. By Truman Capote. What a great way to start the book.
That was probably a little AI working there, because that's not that's I probably had the same reaction as you. I saw it. I said, man, that's really I love that phrase. Yeah.
But you started hardcore selling, working, prospecting, and came from a family that had a very, very rich tradition in sales. What are some of the lessons from your dad and from some of those early days in sales that you took with you throughout your journey as an entrepreneur?
So from reading my book that my wife Tiny says I came from the Beaver Cleaver family. I had just great parents that encouraged me. I had 3 siblings. My mom and dad had high school educations. And so I talk about them a fair amount in the book, especially my dad, because I got to see, he was an insurance agent, and I just got to see a lot of his ups and downs in the business. And so I talk about that. When he left a shoe factory in Batesville to come to Little Rock and sell insurance. And he actually, and I talk about this in the book, he actually ran what's called a debit route. I don't, Larry, have you heard of that, Darrell?
No, I haven't heard of it before.
Not before you introduced me to
what a debit route was back in the day. is my dad would go to poor neighborhoods, and I don't mean that condescending at all, but it would go to poor neighborhoods, and he would go door to door and collect premiums weekly from these. Some of them were pretty dangerous neighborhoods. Well, my dad was so shy that when the first week on the job, when he would go to the door, his hands would shake and tremor. And probably a pivotal moment in our whole family is his manager in that first week said, Howard, you're probably not cut out for this. And my dad was kind of silently really enraged at that, to the point where it made him think, I'm going to prove him wrong, and I'm going to figure this out and do this. And so led him ultimately he operated a farmer's insurance agency, eventually got into writing transportation insurance, truck insurance. And that's when our family kind of hit a new level. When I was around high school, my dad's income jumped enough for us to we hit another level economically, which wasn't huge, but it was big for us. And really cool. My little brother's an entrepreneur. He's 8 years younger than me. He started a truck insurance company and sold to a financial company. He's still doing truck insurance. So that's really cool.
Hey, I gotta hone in on something, because this whole entrepreneurial spirit that I know you have is, I always share with salespeople, I believe this: you're solo entrepreneurs inside the company that you work for, especially if a vast majority of your income's coming from commissions.
I've never thought about keep going, but I've never thought about it like that. And that makes complete sense.
Yeah. And so as I'm sitting here thinking about this, and Darrell and I talk about this all the time, you have, if you want to be a successful salesperson, you got to have that mindset of a solo entrepreneur, and you got to do these things that sometimes are uncomfortable. So, I mean, I like the fact that you're bringing this entrepreneurial spirit to the forefront. You got to just continue to layer on this, because it's a core belief of mine that all salespeople are solo entrepreneurs.
Yeah, completely agree with that. And certainly with my start at New York Life, I really was a solopreneur. I was a W-2 guy, but I was on straight commission. And so grateful that I ended up there. And that 7 years at New York Life was just an amazing training ground for me, until I figured out I wanted to get in the financial advisor space. I was doing that at New York Life, but I wanted to get to a more traditional financial advisory firm. So, but even then, Larry, you're right. I mean, I founded my wealth management firm when I was 33. Started with me and an assistant. So really, I am a solopreneur. But even as I built my team, I've never thought about that until today. I was, over time, I did have some people that were bringing on business, but even when they were bringing on business, I still kind of operated, and maybe sometimes to a fault, but I think it benefited me too, as a solopreneur, right? So,
I love the concept of elevate others. And once again, everybody that's watching, you can see the book. If you're listening in, click the link in the show notes. You're going to want to grab a copy of this. It's just chapter after chapter of wisdom and inspiration. Just this concept of elevating others. I've known you, I've watched you, I've heard you speak several times. The elevating others has been this theme throughout your life. Explain this to us from your perspective, if you would. And I know our audience here would love to get inside the mind of David Trent about what does it mean to elevate others.
Well, Darrell, you've seen me speak, so you've heard me tell this story, and I'll work on the condensed version in the interest of time. But my father and my mother, but my father in particular, was what I would call a master encourager. And so I tell this story in the book. When I was 7 years old, I was playing tackle football, full pads. And I don't know how big I was, but I'll give you some perspective. In the ninth grade, I weighed 100 pounds and I was 4'11". So you can imagine how big I was at 7. It was tiny. And so there was a player on that team who ended up being a good friend of mine. It was so fun to send him the book. He encouraged me, but the main story is about my father. And I think I was scrappy. I was decent, but not near as good as my dad had me thinking I was. He I'd get home from practice. He said, I grew up in a community called Rose City, which is a community in North Little Rock. And he told me, he said, everybody in Rose City is talking about you, and they call you Tiger Trent, So, and think about it. I'm this kid. Rose City's the whole universe, right? There's nothing outside of Rose City when you're 7. That's what you know. So I can remember laying in bed just thinking, man, I can't wait to get back out to practice because I'm the whole town's talking about me. And so that's where kind of my earliest memory of where it started. So you think about what he was doing. He was elevating me and giving me confidence. And, it really doesn't matter if you think about it, how good I was or wasn't in football. Boy, he had me believing I was something else. And he did that, and he encouraged me until the day that he died. He died this past year. And I mean, almost every time I was around, he would tell me how proud he was of me and just can't believe what I'd built and all that. And you would think like, you could think, well, he keeps saying that it's going to get old. And he would compliment me on other things, but he always did that. And so that's the root of it. And I just knew how it made me feel. And I think too, how it makes you believe, right, that you can achieve anything. And so, and we were rooted in the Baptist church as well. And my mom was probably as good of an encourager, but she did it a little differently in terms of she was a teacher as well. So
I love it.
Hey, and you know what I like about this is A, there's not enough of it, but B, isn't that's deeply rooted in leadership. And so I'm listening to what you're saying, David, and I'm going, that's what good leaders do. Good leaders inspire and influence to help people see and achieve things in themselves they didn't think they can do on their own. And it takes encouragement, especially in the world we live in today, because you go back and you said it. You said sales is tough. I agree. But with a little bit of encouragement and a little bit of positivity, you start getting people to do things that they don't think they're capable of doing, which builds their confidence and the believability in themselves.
I still think I have a very long way to go as a leader. And I guess that's a good thing. You want to look at your upside. But Larry, to that point, think about me at 33. I start a wealth management firm from scratch. And the phrase I use, I say I was naive and overconfident at the same time, probably thankfully to my father, right? No, I can do this. It was so freaking hard the first 5 years. I'm 33 asking 50, 60, 70-year-olds, hey, I can manage your money for you. And you have to have a little bit of, just, I don't know, I'm trying to think of the word. I mean, not the naive and overconfident, and just like, you almost have to be so clueless. And so, I even remember back then, I started with a minimum account size of $50,000. And by the time I sold my company, that had become $1 million. So it was, but man, what a joyful looking back 5 years that I had. So in terms of, I wouldn't say I was joyful in the middle of it, but you look back and go, man, that's really shaped me and helped me and gave me belief of just overcoming. And I almost took on a partner in the business. I'm glad I didn't, because any partner probably would have said, hey, we need to close up tent after about 2 years. But when it's your own deal, 100% yours. And I just said, I'm going to figure out a way to make this work.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love that grit. I love that determination. I think at the core of all of that, that's heart right there. And you see that throughout this book and the stories.
That was awesome. But the title of the podcast, I love it.
Hey, we're good. We pull it all together.
Hey, Darrell, I gotta go. I gotta go. There's something I gotta go back to. Because I can't wait to get to know David Trent better. But I would love to be a fly on the wall of you being 33 years old, overconfident a little bit, asking 50 and 60-year-olds for money. It's just, you know what? Because it still holds true today.
Absolutely.
some of our younger generation in their mid-20s, early 30s, they get intimidated talking to people twice their age. The more you do it, obviously, the better you become. But this builds up your confidence. I'd love to have been a fly on the wall. I seriously would have loved to have been a fly on the wall.
Well, you talk about altruism. Luckily, I did have a mentor who had left Merrill Lynch. He was just a few years older than me, and he was 5-7 years into his firm. He was an independent registered investment advisor, which at that time was not super common, custodying assets at Charles Schwab. And so the thing he was doing to market his to bring in clients, he was doing these workshops, and not unlike the roundtable experiences I'm doing right now, Darrell. Mm-hmm. And I named my workshop, I was kind of using the same concept. We named it how to build an all-weather portfolio using no load funds. So at the time, what we were doing is it's kind of that altruism mixed with capitalism that I talked about. I would have these workshops. We would advertise in the paper. There were 2-hour workshops. I would have anywhere from 7, 8 to 15 people in there. And at the very beginning, I would ask a question. I would say, why do you think we're here today? And there'd be a few answers. And I'd finally get one to say, well, you're here to get business. And I said, yeah, that's what we're here for. But I said, just what I said earlier, I know that most of you aren't going to hire me. And I'm going to teach you as much as I can in 2 hours to help you on your journey. And if you want to set up a meeting with me after the workshop, I would welcome that. But all I'm going to do in the next 2 hours is teach. And that just disarmed the room, and probably helped with me being so young as well. I think probably was somewhat endearing to some of these older folks. So that was the early kind of marketing selling that I used to build the wealth management firm.
I love it. I love it. So many great stories in this book. So as we wrap up, David, I know our listeners are thinking, how do I get more David Trent in my life?
Well, if you are, I'm doing kind of two things. I'm elevating entrepreneurs, and I want to help them elevate their exits. And if that exit is 6 months from now, if it's now, if it's 5 years from now, 10 years from now, we want to do that. And there's different ways to do that. But the way that I'm doing it is through CEO roundtable groups. And we meet 4 hours every month, a half a day. And it's for CEOs and business owners that want a board of directors style meeting that they can have every month. They could go put this together on their own, but most entrepreneurs aren't going to do that. And so it's just so many people that the seasoned entrepreneurs will tell you get major benefits from being in a peer group. I benefited from one. And so I'm in the early stages of building those. We're building them in St. Pete, Florida, Dallas, and Little Rock. And we're about to have three groups launched, one in each of those cities. I've launched the Little Rock group. And then I will probably end up doing them in different cities in all parts of the country. But for what I'll do is I'll have a pre-selected moderator. I'll build the groups out. And so that's my plan on scaling this and growing it, where I can only moderate so many groups. 6 is probably about the most I can. I mean, there is a max you could even do, even if you were trying to do them every day of the month. No way you could do that. But I love the concept of getting a pre-selected moderator in place. And then we're learning as a team. I've got 3 other people on my team how to do the business development piece of this. And it's a lot of fun. It is equally as hard as the wealth management business. I'm not 33 anymore, so it helps being 60, 61. But it's a heavy lift building these out. I told your guy from C12 same thing. I said I think the success rate of like a Vistage chair or other peer group chairs is about 3 out of 10 actually end up launching a group. So it's 70% fail rate, but that just gets me fired up, So,
I love it.
He's got me fired up. I tell you what, David Trent, next time I find my way to Conway, Arkansas, and Little Rock, I'm going to come hang out with you.
I would love it, brother.
No doubt. Well, this is so inspirational. Listen in, everybody. Look at this. Elevate others, still doing it, still going strong, still selling, prospecting, building business, getting it done. And David, you're a true inspiration. I just want to say thank you for joining us today, sharing your heart. And you're just, you're an amazing friend, and you're an amazing example of selling from the heart.
Well, I'm grateful, and I'm glad you guys could feed your egos today by being altruistic to me.
Well, we elevate others.
I'm altruistic to you because I've helped you feed your ego.
There you go.
So, thank you.
Thanks, David.
You. What a fun conversation. Hey, make sure to go out and grab a copy of Elevate Others. I'm telling you, there's chapter after chapter of amazing stories that are going to encourage you in your journey as a sales professional, as a leader, as a solo entrepreneur, as Larry said earlier. And I love this concept of always, this aligns so well with selling from the heart, just saying, hey, I'm going to elevate other people. And as I elevate other people, it's going to bring so much joy to my life. And it's also going to be good for business as well. Elevate others.
Absolutely. So I got to put a whole spin on this, and then you can put a nice little bow on this, Darrell. So let's just take David's book for a second, Elevating Others. This is aimed right at sales leaders and salespeople. Just for a second, hear me out on this. Imagine if you elevated your clients and your future clients. You took the core principles in David's book and you brought that right to your clients and you elevated them. I promise you this, you'd grow your business tenfold like that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us today. Thank you to everybody who is sharing the podcast, and especially those of you who are leaving reviews. We've got great episodes coming up throughout the summer, so make sure to stay tuned. Our goal is to keep you fired up and focused all summer long. Till next time, keep being genuine, keep being authentic, keep building trust, elevate others, and most of all,
sell from the heart.